10 years after the world fell to a zombie apocalypse, survival is just another day at the office for four unlikely companions in a world gone mad. The undead have evolved into distinct categories, making survival both a science and an art. The homers are the comic relief of the apocalypse, slow, dumb, and easily distracted, like when one gets its tongue hilariously stuck on an ice sculpture. Then there are the Hawkings, clever enough to use a dead scientist's eye to bypass an iris scan lock. But the real nightmare? The ninjas, silent, deadly assassins lurking in the shadows. In Washington, D.C., a well-oiled machine of survivors roams the wasteland. The group consists of the wisecracking Tallahassee, the fiercely independent Wichita, her cautious boyfriend Columbus, and Wichita's younger sister, Little Rock. Their teamwork is a symphony of carnage as they mow down zombies with practiced ease. After an exhausting but victorious battle against a horde, the quartet takes over the White House, transforming it into their fortress of fun. For a while, life is bliss. They redecorate to their taste, indulge in the luxuries left behind, and even celebrate Little Rock's 18th birthday. Tallahassee, who's become a father figure to her, gifts her an antique gun once owned by Elvis. Little Rock, tired of being coddled and called little, storms off in frustration. Tensions rise further when Columbus surprises Wichita with a marriage proposal. Marriage, however, is Wichita's Achilles heel. She associates it with inevitable heartbreak. Awkwardness ensues, and the next morning, the sisters vanish, leaving only a vague note. The duo's road trip takes them far from their makeshift family. Little Rock, craving connection with someone her age, crosses paths with Presley, a pacifist musician. Meanwhile, back at the White House, Columbus and Tallahassee distract themselves at the mall. Columbus is moping about Wichita, and Tallahassee, unimpressed, suggests hitting the road to reset. Their mall detour turns eventful when they encounter Madison, a bubbly but airhead survivor who's thrilled to see other humans. Columbus invites her to join them, much to Tallahassee's chagrin. Madison's lack of common sense quickly becomes apparent, but loneliness has made Columbus willing to overlook her flaws. Later, back at the White House, Madison's enthusiasm leads to some steamy moments with Columbus, while Tallahassee pretends not to notice. In the dead of night, Tallahassee's vigilance nearly turns fatal when he mistakes Columbus for a zombie and almost shoots him. Their investigation reveals Wichita, who has returned for weapons, and updates them on Little Rock's absence. She's distressed because her sister is traveling unarmed with Presley, who's more peace lover than zombie slayer. Worse, there are rumors of a new zombie variant, stronger, faster, and deadlier. Tallahassee loses it at the thought of Little Rock with an unprepared pacifist and insists on tracking her down. Wichita begrudgingly accepts their help, though her reunion with Columbus is frosty, especially when Madison reappears and announces she's tagging along. Wichita's jealousy bubbles over as the group sets out in Wichita's minivan, a vehicle Tallahassee deems unworthy of his badassery. Despite his protests, they pile in, leaving behind Madison's mountain of luggage to travel light. Meanwhile, Little Rock and Presley enjoy their carefree adventure, punctuated by random zombie target practice and a smoky joyride fueled by Presley's stash of Mary Jane. He serenades her with love songs, and their bond deepens as they head toward Graceland, her dream destination. Back with Columbus' crew, tensions rise when Madison produces Columbus' engagement ring, which she swiped from Wichita's bedside drawer. An awkward, passive-aggressive spat erupts between Columbus and Wichita, but it's cut short when Tallahassee slams the brakes. Everyone lurches forward, and Madison smacks her head on the dashboard. Their stop isn't without reason. A fancy bus sits nearby, ready to upgrade their ride. On their way to the bus, Columbus and Wichita argue over their precarious situation like a bickering couple debating pizza toppings. Once they reach the bus, Madison enthusiastically opens the door, only to accidentally trigger the alarm. Classic Madison. The noise attracts a hungry horde of zombies faster than free Wi-Fi attracts teenagers. But our heroes aren't amateurs. Columbus scrambles onto the roof like a caffeinated cat and starts raining bullets on the undead, all while shouting directions like a zombie apocalypse GPS. Meanwhile, Wichita and Tallahassee execute their well-oiled teamwork tactics, a result of a decade of practice. Just as things seem under control, Wichita's weapon jams. Perfect timing. A zombie lunges at her, and Madison, armed with nothing but pepper spray, leaps into action. She sprays the zombie in the face. This gives Wichita enough time to fix her weapon and deliver a satisfying headshot. They wisely ignore the Homer zombie waddling off in the opposite direction, priorities, and deal with a roof-jumping zombie by making it regret its life choices, courtesy of a tactical dodge and a hail of bullets. Everything seems wrapped up until Tallahassee faces a zombie that just won't die. This evolved super zombie, which Columbus promptly dubs the T-800, because, of course, Terminator, shrugs off bullets like it's wearing plot armor. Tallahassee, out of patience and bullets, finally crushes its skull with brute force. He then ceremoniously paints a 3 on the bus door because traditions are important, even during a zombie apocalypse. Their victory is short-lived, though, as the bus runs over some spikes, leaving them with no choice but to switch to the cringeworthy minivan. As they drive, the group shares some nutty snacks and debates Madison's questionable life choices when, suddenly, she starts to feel sick. Like, very sick. Tallahassee slams on the brakes, and Madison bolts out to puke in a dramatic fashion. While she's occupied, the trio debates their options. Columbus wants to save her, but Tallahassee and Wichita remind him that turning into a zombie is worse than any breakup. Reluctantly, Columbus follows Madison into the woods. A tense moment later, a gunshot echoes through the air. Tallahassee and Wichita exchange impressed, slightly horrified looks, and the rest of the ride is so awkward you can almost hear the tumbleweeds. When they arrive at Graceland, their hopes are dashed. It's destroyed and abandoned. Disappointed but not defeated, they press on until they stumble upon the Hound Dog Hotel. Spotting Tallahassee's old car parked outside, they rush in. Wichita hunts for Little Rock, while Tallahassee fanboys over Elvis memorabilia. He even dons the King's shoes, but they don't fit. He sits at the piano to unleash his inner rock star, only to get smacked by a woman named Nevada, who holds him at gunpoint. Classic meet cute. Nevada eventually lowers her weapon after hearing their story and explains that Little Rock and Berkeley are headed to Babylon, a hippie utopia with no guns but plenty of peace, harmony, and terrible survival instincts. Tallahassee and Nevada bond over drinks and flirt shamelessly. He even busts out his best Elvis impersonation, which somehow works. One thing leads to another, and let's just say they do the dirty. The next morning, as Tallahassee struts around in Elvis gear, a monster truck parks on his beloved car. Enter Albuquerque and Flagstaff, who are essentially Tallahassee and Columbus doppelgangers, but with even bigger egos. The men bicker like children trying to impress Nevada and Wichita, who are not amused. Nevada finally snaps and shuts them up. Albuquerque and Flagstaff warn of the rising threat of T-800 zombies in the area. Before long, the group hears noises outside. It's the T-800S, right on cue. Albuquerque and Flagstaff rush out to show off their skills, taking down zombies with an impressive display of violence and bravado. But their victory lap is cut short when Albuquerque reveals he's been bitten. Flagstaff sheepishly admits he has too. Both men try to play it cool, but then they start puking like frat boys after a wild party and quickly turn into T-800 zombies. Cue chaos. Nevada fires her gun, but these T-800S are harder to kill than a bad internet rumor. The group retreats to the corridor, grabbing Elvis memorabilia to use as weapons. Tallahassee and Columbus fight like action heroes, dodging and using pool balls and cues as makeshift weapons. Nevada and Wichita can't get a clear shot without risking friendly fire, so they're stuck watching the ridiculous zombie-human smackdown. The fight intensifies as both zombies and humans get flung across the room, breaking furniture and testing the structural integrity of the hotel. Tallahassee, the ultimate zombie-slaying Elvis fan, finally finds his groove when he brings down Albuquerque using none other than an Elvis statue. With flair worthy of the king, he smashes the guy's head with a guitar like he's at a rock concert. While Tallahassee marvels at his handiwork and wonders if this might just snag zombie kill of the year, Columbus, never one to be outdone, recalls an Italian legend involving mannequins and a collapsing Tower of Pisa. Apparently, style points are everything in the apocalypse. Meanwhile, Flagstaff tackles Columbus, but Nevada wastes no time. She steps in, fires a clean shot, and finishes off Flagstaff. It's teamwork, apocalypse style. Nevada then seals her goodbye with Tallahassee by giving him an Elvis ring, a token to remember her by, and a reminder to swing by again. Despite his tough guy exterior, Tallahassee is clearly touched. Feeling invincible, he tries to tame a monster truck, but the beast is more than he can handle. They eventually ditch it in favor of their trusty minivan. Naturally, this doesn't stop Tallahassee from ceremoniously blowing up the minivan later because that's how he rolls. As the crew cruises along, Wichita uses the downtime to patch things up with Columbus. Their romantic moment is hilariously interrupted by the sight of an ice cream truck driven by Madison, who's very much alive. Turns out Columbus didn't shoot her, she just had a nut allergy. Rejoining the group, Madison's incessant chatter becomes the soundtrack of the apocalypse once again. Finally, they arrive at Babylon, a utopian hippie commune. Before gaining entry, all weapons are melted down, much to Tallahassee's dismay. Once inside, they reunite with Little Rock, who apologizes for running off but tells the gang they might not belong here. For Tallahassee, seeing Little Rock all grown up hits hard, and he decides to move on. But peace doesn't last long. While driving away, Tallahassee encounters a T-800 zombie, a near-indestructible nightmare. Worse, he spots a massive horde heading straight for Babylon. He rushes back and sounds the alarm, only to face skepticism from Berkeley, who's more into vibes than survival tactics. Little Rock promptly dumps him, and Tallahassee shifts into full-on leader mode. Without guns, the group improvises a plan. Using biodiesel, they fashion a gigantic bomb. Hippies wield makeshift shields while fireworks are set up as zombie bait. As the horde approaches, the trap is sprung. The resulting explosion decimates the first wave, but a second horde looms. The group is forced into hand-to-hand combat with shovels and anything else within reach. Overwhelmed, Tallahassee declares it's the end. As they brace for their final stand, Nevada roars in with the monster truck, turning the battle into a chaotic zombie demolition derby. She drives like a maniac, creating a literal zombie tornado and flipping the truck for maximum carnage. The group retreats toward the tower, clearing zombies with improvised weapons. On the roof, they use shields to funnel the undead over the edge. Tallahassee pulls a classic bait and switch, leading the zombies off the roof and clinging to a crane as they plummet to their doom. Columbus dubs it the zombie kill of the century. Just when it seems over, two zombies grab Tallahassee's leg. The team freezes, unsure of how to help, but Little Rock steps up. Using Tallahassee's Christmas gift, a gun she kept hidden, she takes them out. The group rescues him, and Tallahassee and Little Rock reconcile. The romance quota is filled as Wichita says yes to Columbus' proposal, Nevada and Tallahassee share a kiss, and even Madison and Berkeley find common ground. Though their shared moment is cut short by a Homer zombie who immediately falls to its death. As fireworks light up the night, the original four, joined by Nevada, head off in style, leaving Babylon behind. But in true Zombieland fashion, the story doesn't end there. In a flashback, Bill Murray is promoting Garfield 3 when chaos erupts. A reporter transforms into a zombie mid-interview, forcing Bill to defend himself with a chair and his iconic disdain for Mondays. As he fights his way through a zombie-infested lobby, Bill proves that even in a zombie apocalypse, his deadpan humor and resourcefulness make him a legend. And that's how the chaotic, action-packed, and hilariously twisted journey of Zombieland, Double Tap, comes to an epic close. From jaw-dropping zombie kills to heartfelt reunions and wild adventures, the film keeps you hooked till the very last moment. If you enjoyed reliving this insane roller coaster with us, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join us for more thrilling movie recaps here on Movies Unboxed.